Oh, hello there. Well, it's winter time. You might as well cozy up next to the fireplace, grab you a cup of hot chocolate, and enjoy this season of Cooking with Daniel, featuring Judge Joe once again. Oh, hello there. Welcome to today's episode and the new season of Cooking with Daniel. And this one is going to be Holiday Edition. So we're going to have some Christmas themed things for you this year. So in today's episode, I'm going to be making a delicious shrimp scampi. And we only know it's going to be delicious because Judge Joe is going to be judging today, and we're going to see how he likes it. So we're also going to be making a side of mashed potatoes with garlic and cream, and I'm very excited to make that as well, and that's going to be our little side add-on for the dish. So without further ado, let's get into cutting the potatoes. I'm going to make them diced right now, and then once they are diced, we'll put them in a pan, get them boiling, and add some of the half and half and garlic, and then mash them as well. So without further ado, let's get started cutting the potatoes. So I'm going to be dicing them today and just into squares just like that. Really simple, and just going to keep it nice and light for today's episode. I'm very excited to be back as well, and thank you everybody for joining me today. So I'm going to keep cutting these, and we'll get to it as soon as I'm done. Alright, so now that we have our potatoes all cut up, we're going to be getting them ready in our pan. Leave some of those there because our bowl's getting a little full. So I'm going to go take them over, and here's our pan. We're going to be getting it started here on about a medium heat, and we're going to be going ahead and putting our potatoes in, and we're going to cover them with water in just a minute. And as soon as we cover them with water, we're going to let it get to a boil. And once we let it get to a boil, that's when we will be adding in the cream and garlic mixture that I'm going to be making in just a minute. So, other than that, we're going to let those sit for a minute, go ahead and add in our water in just a second, turn up that heat a little bit, and get it going. And we'll get the shrimp ready to go after we pour in the water. Alright, so now we're going to be pouring in the water. It's been just about 30 seconds or so for these potatoes. We're going to be covering it with the water just on a nice layer, just about right there. And now we're just going to let that get to a boil, and once it does, we will have our cream and garlic mixture ready to go. So I'm about to throw that together. The first thing we will need is half and half, and also some garlic right there. And we're going to be using these in a mixture and kind of putting them together to throw into the mashed potatoes right whenever we mash them up. Alright, so now I'm going to be salting the potatoes just a little bit, and as soon as I do that, we can see a little bit of bubbles increasing, and so I'm going to be pouring in my half and half into our saucepan here, just kind of letting it go and turn on that heat onto medium. So I'm going to put all of that. We have just about a cup of half and half right there, and I'm going to be adding in some garlic as well. So as I grab a spoon, alrighty, so I'm going to be throwing in some of this chopped garlic. Kind of get rid of the juice a little bit there. Throwing about 1 spoonful, kind of spread it around in there, just to add just a touch more, and we should be good. So now I'm going to mix this around a little bit and let it get to a good simmer. And once it starts to simmer consistently, we will be ready to go. I have the shrimp laid out on our cutting board here, and I'm just going to be kind of patting out a lot of that moisture from it and a lot of that stickiness that raw shrimp carries along with it. So just going to be patting gently just a little bit, go over it about twice with the paper towels. And once I get that done, we're going to be putting it directly into our pan with some butter and some garlic. And so I'm going to be taking my knife and cutting up a stick of butter. Get it out of the package here. Alrighty, so I'm going to put about 3/4 of a tablespoon of butter into our pan for the shrimp here. Meanwhile, let that melt for just a moment. Meanwhile, I'm going to be checking on our potatoes, kind of poking with a fork here to kind of see around. They are not quite getting ready yet. We want them to be falling apart whenever we directly poke them, so they're still not quite done, but they're getting there. So stay tuned, and we will check on those in just a minute. Alrighty, so now we have our shrimp ready to go. I'm just going to be placing it into our pan and turning the heat up just a little bit. So now we're at about 3/4 heat. These, of course, are peeled and deveined with the tail on. That's going to add a really nice flair, especially with our plating. So I'm going to make these nice and evenly spaced out in our pan here today and make sure that I get some butter on them as well. That's been in that pan. That's melted now. And then, as soon as I get those placed in there just like that, I'm going to be adding some pepper and salt right on top, just like this. And kind of letting those guys do their own thing for a little over a minute once they start to simmer. And meanwhile, as we see our potatoes here, I want to share a little Chef Daniel secret once again for today's episode. So, as you see, we have that wooden spoon on top, and as it may be called a myth in some places, putting a wooden spoon on top of a boiling pan like that or pot usually will help it to not boil over. And it's very good at absorbing the extra moisture that's needed to absorb to stop it from boiling over. And it's a very cool scientific phenomenon as well. So continuing on, we still have our half and half and garlic mixture over here. It is getting ready. It's almost there as we see a couple bubbles starting to emerge. And I'm going to keep an eye on this and stir it around just a little bit because we don't want that garlic to burn on the bottom of the pan. Alrighty, so now there's been about 30 to 40 seconds for that shrimp on the first side. I'm going to be throwing in my garlic, just kind of tossing it on top just like that. I don't want to go with too much. That's plenty right there. And just get that last little bit off of our spoon. Alrighty, so now I will put up the garlic and we will continue to watch the shrimp. It has about 30 seconds or so left on that side. And then we're going to be giving it a nice flip and going to go for about a minute on that side as well, maybe a minute and a half. Since we have it on a little higher heat now, turn it up just a hair. And continuing forward, just checking on our half and half garlic mixture here. It's looking like it's getting just about ready. And our potatoes are looking good. We're going to give those a check real quick. And they're almost there. They're starting to get a little bit crumbly whenever I hit them with a fork. So very close to being ready to go, but not just quite yet. So our shrimp is looking good. We've cooked it for about 2 to 2.5 minutes on each side on some higher heat. So now what we're going to be doing is transferring it into a skillet with some fresh butter that's just been melted. And from there, we're going to be adding some lemon juice to make it taste nice and perfect for Judge Joe. So continuing further, just kind of toss this in there and get that liquidified butter ready to go for this shrimp. So not quite enough space for my last little piece there, but that'll be just fine. And I'm going to be squeezing this fresh lemon right on top of there, all the way out, just like that, and letting those simmer in that to finish the cooking process and complete. So other than that, guys, stay tuned. Next thing we're going to be doing, the mashed potatoes are getting very close to being ready to mash, so I'm very excited about that. Alrighty, so now our mashed potatoes are ready for mashing. So we're going to be throwing them into this big bowl here, tossing them on in. And here comes the fun part as we also get to add in our garlic and cream mixture. So, very excited about this. As we start to get ready for mashing, we're going to get them ready here, nice and prepared. And now we're going to be pouring in our cream as we continue to mash the potatoes. So that should be about plenty right there. And as we continue to go on, I will keep you guys updated with this. And our shrimp is just about ready for us to pull off of the burner. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these to sit for just about a minute while I go check on the shrimp, and it looks very good. Shrimp is looking like it's just about ready to go. So I'm going to be getting it ready, and I'm going to let it rest on this plate here. Kind of a side plate that we've got before we put it on the nice plate for Judge Joe's presentation. And I am very excited for him to try this shrimp. I think that he is going to love it. Alrighty, so now we have the shrimp ready to go. So I'm just going to be gently plating this shrimp, making it look extra pretty for our judge today. And now that we have placed the shrimp on the plate, we are going to be zesting some lemon right on top. So some freshly zested lemon, excuse me. I'm going to be throwing this on top and giving that just a little shake. And now we are going to be putting in our mashed potatoes. Those are very amazingly creamy, so I'm very excited for that. So I'm going to be throwing these in our side dish just to add a little bit of flair. Want to get a nice even layer because we don't want the presentation to lack any. Alright, make sure that it's nice and even. We'll clean up those edges in just a moment. And as well, we are going to be adding some Parmesan cheese right on top of those potatoes. Add a little bit of a nice flair as well. So throw on just a little layer, a very thin layer of Parmesan cheese. And lastly, we're going to be adding just a touch of basil to add some greenery to the plate. And other than that, we are ready to go. Good evening, Judge Joe.
Hello, Chef. Wow.
So today, I prepared for you a shrimp scampi with basil on the side and garlic mashed potatoes with cream and Parmesan cheese on top.
Okay. So, first I want to say thank you to everyone that watches this because it's a great fun, and without you guys watching, we wouldn't be doing it. And we love it, and we hope you love it because we love doing it for you. So, tell me, what goes into making shrimp scampi?
So we have some nicely sauteed shrimp in some butter, and then we throw in some garlic, and I put some fresh zested lemon right on top for you. And I want to make sure that they were perfectly cooked, never overcooked, and make sure that the garlic never burned on it as well.
All right, well, just so happens I love all of that. So I'm going to use this finger food. I'm not going to use a fork on the shrimp.
As you so choose.
And I'm going to test it out. Oh, that was nice. That has a great flavor, I tell you. It's casting a spell on my taste buds. Now, I'm going to try these mashed potatoes. Man, what's in those?
So in the mashed potatoes, I have garlic as well, and then I added some cream, some half and half, and I added some Parmesan cheese as well. There's grated Parmesan cheese inside just a little bit, and then some Parmesan cheese on top as well.
Well, I can't think of anything to complement this shrimp scampi better than that. It just all blends together so well. So, what went into preparing these potatoes?
Yes, so I used a saucepan that I boiled them in, and then, like I said, I added the half and half cream mixture with garlic, and added the Parmesan cheese as I was mixing as well. And so I let them get nice and soft and started to mash them and mix them with the cream and the garlic and the Parmesan cheese as well.
Well, this is awesome. I give it a 10.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. I'm very glad that Judge Joe really liked the dish again, and I'm very excited for next episode. So be sure to subscribe below for next episode coming out Friday at noon of this next week, Central Time. And be sure to leave a like if you like this video and you like the dish that I cooked. And leave a comment if you think that anything could be better, or maybe a suggestion for a future dish that I could cook in a future season. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great rest of your day. See ya.